Hey there everyone, today I wanted to take a break from my normal kind of factual and educational videos to talk about what I think is going to be coming for Titanfall's future. Specifically, I like to speculate about a potential new game mode for Titanfall which I have reason to believe might be a Horde Survival Mode, releasing just in time for Halloween. And just a quick note before we get started, I am still kinda sick. I've been coughing like crazy, my throat's not feeling too great, so I apologize if my voice is a little quiet and subdued and not quite what you're used to hearing, but we're trying to work through it as best as we can, guys. So without much further ado, let's get started. Xbox 360 players have recently been reporting a new game type appearing when they cycle through their game type specific pilot loadouts. This new game type is called Frontier Defense, as you can see in the picture here, with credit to Pastrami1993. You can find him on Reddit at that name as well as on Xbox 360. What could this game mode be, and why has Respawn not given us any sort of mention as to what it might be? Obviously it's not there intentionally. So I have a tinfoil hat theory that this new game type might actually be a Horde mode, possibly more commonly known as zombies like you might see in Gears of War or Call of Duty respectively. So before we continue any further, let's take a little look at a bit of some of the backstory that's kind of prompted this theory and this video in general. So in Respawn's recent live stream where they showed off the new IMC Rising DLC, they mentioned that they would be having a new live stream in about a month's time or so. So they promised to show off some new stuff for Titanfall that they quote-unquote couldn't talk about yet. Take a look at your calendars, fellas, and add a month to that. Is there a particular holiday coming up soon which might be related to hordes or zombies or anything like that? Well, yes there is. So that's strike one right there in my book. Second, Respawn has been quoting as saying recently that their new upcoming features are going to be sure to please hordes of their fans, with emphasis on hordes. So that's strike number two there in my book. So this is probably the biggest stretch of them all, but I want you to go ahead and listen to some dialogue from the final mission of Titanfall's campaign, specifically a few lines uttered between Graves and Blisk.
We don't have to be against each other, Blisk. It could be us against the machines.
Then how are we going to ever know who's better?
No person is better than another, Blisk.
I disagree. You kill me, you're better. I kill you, I'm better.
Blisk, you fight alongside machines, but they believe in nothing. They have no loyalty. They're loyal only to their operator.
You're gonna lecture me about loyalty? You change your uniform like you're changing socks.
In the end, against faceless machines and people like you who fight only for a paycheck, we will win.
Huh. I'll fight you for free, Graves. Hope to find you on the ground soon, eh?
It could be us against the machines, is the key phrase from this exchange. This one line foreshadows so much in the future of the Titanfall universe. I can already envision how this may end up pushing the story of the Titanfall universe forwards. So if you've ever played Team Fortress 2 on PC, you'll probably have given their Man vs. Machine mode a try. If you take a look at the reveal trailer for Man vs. Machine, one of the key points of the video is that both red and blue team come together in order to defeat the robot menace. I would wager that Titanfall is about to take a page out of TF2's book, and the Frontier Defense is going to end up being something very similar in that we're going to have a momentary truce between both the IMC and militia in order to fight off the robot menace. So I would imagine that other mechanized threats will be brought into the fray, and I'd like to cite a few potential examples of where those might be coming from. First up, there's a guy named DecoPerson on Reddit who has taken it upon himself to break down a lot of Titanfall's code, and he's found quite a lot of goodies in there that are most likely content that was cut from the game during development. One such mention from his post is an RTS Commander mode. In this mode, you could accrue points and then spend them to help your team down on the ground. According to what Deco has found, Marvins were at one point combat effective and were one of your options to drop into battle as an offensive troop. So you could also drop small turrets and offensive hover drones, which I imagine are probably based off the search drones that you now see floating around in Angel City. So let's get to the point. Why am I even mentioning this? Well, if we're going to be having a Horde mode in Titanfall, we need more than just Spectres as a type of enemy. Remember, Grunts are pretty much out because we're assuming that the IMC and Militia are teaming up to defeat this mechanized threat. So there have already been mentions of 3 potential mechanized threats for us to face in addition to Spectres just in this code alone. So that takes us up to 4 potential enemy types, plus heavy turrets could be applicable as well to bring us up to 5. If I were Respawn, I would also consider the idea that the robot menace might decide to sabotage all the repulsor towers that you find on like all the maps in Titanfall, or at least some of them. And since all the native flyers and leviathans don't care much to eat crunchy metal, I doubt that they're going to be any concern to all the robots. So if they destroy those repulsor towers, that means that they're going to come to eat us, because we're nice and tasty and juicy and warm. So if those towers were to be destroyed, who's to say that the pilots and, our grunt companions wouldn't now have to deal with all the native wildlife? Honestly, though, Leviathans are probably a little bit of a stretch, so let's consider this being 6 potential enemy types for us to face, and then instead of 7. So, with the reveal of that scrapped RTS Commander mode that I was just talking about, I would wonder if that could potentially be brought back for Frontier Defense as something that we could use as players. Like, maybe not for the rest of the game, but just specifically in Frontier Defense. So, might we potentially be able to place ammo dumps or health drops or call in reinforcements of our own, on our own terms, where and when we want them? To extrapolate a bit, maybe we could see something like in Call of Duty Zombies or Gears of War Horde mode, where you can do things like place barriers on the ground to slow down the enemy advance, or maybe even in Call of Duty, like I'm pretty sure that you can go and you can buy weapons and power-ups and stuff like that, so, if they don't get too arcadey with it, perhaps that's something that we could, potentially be seeing as well. In my opinion, the possibilities seem pretty broad. So, what do you guys think that we could potentially see from this old base code? I'm going to leave a link in the description box down below for you guys to check out the full description of everything that Deco Person has found. So let me know, do you think that any of this can be repurposed and potentially brought into Titanfall 1 or maybe even in Titanfall 2? Let me know. So, let's summarize. Potentially 6 different enemy types for us to face. Spectres, Marvins, small turrets, large turrets, hover drones, and potentially flyers if my hopes and dreams prove to be at least somewhat correct. So, could we potentially be seeing AI-controlled Titans coming into play here? If so, I wonder if we might be able to hack those or force our way into the pilot seats and try to use them against the rest of the robot menace. Maybe. Hopefully. We'll find out. Now just remember guys, none of this is confirmed or factual, this is all just my, speculation, so I know things are going to be getting a little bit outlandish as they already have, they're going to get even more outlandish in the future here, so, just keep that in mind. In addition, we've been seeing a lot of fembots in the last 2 DLCs, primarily in Export and Zone 18. The bots in Export seem pretty harmless. They're pretty humanoid with a near-perfect representation of a human female face. Zone 18, however, has a half dozen of these fembots with red markings on their sides, which is different from those that are in Export. So it's important to remember that Zone 18 is known for being an IMC Spectre research facility, so could these fembots be simply a new revision of the current Spectre design? Perhaps intended for Spec Ops roles, while the Spectres themselves remain the main assault force? In my opinion, it doesn't make sense for a Spectre research facility to be holding purely civilian robotics, so something here is pretty fishy to me. Perhaps we could see more of them in the Frontier Defense should my wild theories prove to be anywhere near correct. Okay, alright, so all this stuff is pretty fine and dandy, but what about a boss unit? There's gotta be something particularly big, bad, and imposing for us to try to survive long enough to eventually fight, right? See Exhibit B, again, found in some of the corporate campaign audio, this time from a grunt captain on the militia side.
Control, this is Coffin 2-2. One of our birds just went down. Enemy has acquired unknown Titan chassis. Sending a team after it now. Copy 2-2. Pull whatever intel you can. Try to keep it in one piece. Not making any promises. Coffin 2-2, out!
Did you catch that? Enemy has acquired unidentified Titan chassis. I like to think that everyone in the militia army is able to identify the Strider, Atlas, and Ogre Titan chassis at first sight. So what's this unidentified one gonna be? Why is this militia grunt captain sending squads off to capture this Titan instead of flat out killing it? If this video wasn't speculative enough for you, it's about to become even more so. What if this unidentified Titan, or Rogue Titan if you will, is in fact purely AI controlled? That would make for an excellent boss character of sorts for you to work up towards in this new mode. In addition to all this, I have one final note to bring up to you guys' attention. So if you'll remember the IMC Rising trailer that was released, somebody on Reddit, whose name escapes me at the moment, and I apologize for this, but somebody posted an image from this video where in the bottom left corner of the screen during gameplay, you know how you normally see an IMC or a militia logo there? Well, this guy had noticed that there was a new logo in place of those, and it's a sword going through some sort of hexagonal green shape. I'm not entirely sure what it's supposed to be. And then it's surrounded by a green circle, almost, like you know how like your Titan build time kind of has like a circle of brightness kind of come around and signify when your Titan is ready to be dropped. Well, there's a green line in the same kind of fashion going around the edge of this this logo, and nobody knows what this logo means. So I'm curious, you know, was this some kind of placeholder that Respawn is using internally? Was it something that was put there intentionally as kind of an Easter egg for us to find and speculate about? You know, who knows what it could actually be. So, you know, take a look, see what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think that it might be. That's kind of like a little kind of hodgepodge random piece of info I just thought I would throw in here last second before we wrap it up. So anyways, guys, that's about all I got for you. Thank you all for watching. I hope that you are as speculative as I am, because I think that we really could be getting this Horde mode, you know, with Halloween coming up, and, you know, that very, very ominous sort of thing is, you know, we have another live stream coming. It's coming. Don't worry, it's coming. We don't tell you what, but it's coming. So hopefully, Horde mode. Everyone wants it. Maybe Respawn's making it. Anyways, guys, thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe if you feel so inclined. And anyways, we'll see you next time. Y'all take care.